Sukihantu and good evening to ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dhammapada series brought to you by Buddhist Mahavihara Malaysia. Today's session is also live on TBCN Facebook. Do subscribe our Facebook for more information. The topic for tonight is Dhammapada, chapter 1, verse 16 by Bhante Katakoda Pesala Thera. Bhante Pesala Thera is from Sri Lanka. He was ordained in year 2017 and received his higher ordination in year 2020. Currently, Bhante lives in the Labuno Ruwa Forest Monastery at Anuradhapura, where he always shares the Dhamma to both local and international communities under Dhamma Tuta program conducted by the monastery for the well-being of humanity. Without further ado, let's invite Bhante to join us. Good evening, Bhante, and
Hey,
over
good
to you
evening,
now.
Sarne. Good evening to all Dhamma friends, Theruvan Saranai. I would like to welcome all the brothers and sisters of Dhamma. It's a pleasure to meet you all and to talk to you about and discuss Dhamma, the noble teachings of our great teacher, Samma Sambuddha. So, after the talk, I will be really happy to answer any of your questions. Without much ado, let's invite all the devas to join with us. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajas Sunanto Sagga Mokkadam Dhammasavana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta. And also let's begin this talk by paying our homage and also our vandana to Samma Sambuddha. Let's all together worship our great teacher Samma Sambuddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Idha modati pecca modati kata punyo ubayatha modati so modati so pamodati diswa kamma visuddha mattanoti. Dear Dhamma friends, today we are talking about how the Buddhist disciples are experiencing happiness. It means happy are the well-doers here and also hereafter. Today, actually, it is a very important and very good Dhamma point. That is because as human beings or as any other sentient beings, our main purpose is to find the fullest, find the happiness up to the fullest. That's why as human beings we are doing lots of things. We are doing jobs, we are having families, we are getting married, you know we do get children. Likewise, we are doing so many things. The purpose of doing everything is to find the happiness. So very rarely our great teacher Samma Sambuddha appeared to this world, and he also showing a path to get that happiness. uh, you know the happiness that I mentioned, uh, as laymen, as world people, that happiness that we are finding, even all are temporary basis. That means, at the end of our lives, those happiness will be fade away with the destruction of this very body. It will fade away. But when you go through the Dhamma, you can find the eternal happiness. That is what for this. That is what for this Dhamma. And not only that, most people thinking that the happiness can be gained only after this life. People think, but in this verse it's clearly explained. Here also we can happy, and also not only that, hereafter also we can happy. And once go deeper, when once one go deeper into the Dhamma, he can be really happy for eternally. He can really happy at, eternally. So that's what this Dhamma is for. So let's move to the verse today, and it is the verse number 16 of the first chapter of Dhammapada. Ida modati peccha modati. Here, ida modati mean here in this life, uh, the one who perform much of merits and virtues, he experiences happiness and blissfulness. Pechamodati means after the after the death, or else after the destruction of this very body, once he reborn into future existences, in there also the one who is performing virtuous things, virtues, he will be happy in the future existences also. Katapunyo ubayatta modati, the one who perform meritorious deeds. Ubayatta modati mean he, both this world and after this world, in both the occasions, he can be really happy. So modati, so pamodati. Here again he says, so modati. That person, he is experiencing, so many happiness. That's why the happiness, the term modati means the happiness. The modati it mentioning in three occasions. So that's what mean he continuously is happy, he getting the happiness. That's what it means here. And so pamodati, again pamodati mean modati, the weight of the word is increased by putting the term per. So pamodati mean he, you know extremely happy, exceedingly happy. So that's what mean pamodati, the one who performs good deeds, he will be really happy. And viswakama visuddhamattano, after doing all these good things, once he reflect upon his life, upon his behavior, then he will further he get happiness by seeing his virtuous behavior. So that is the meaning of the first verse. So this story, this verse, Buddha uttered with regard to a lay person named Dhammika. So the meaning of the term Dhammika mean the one, he is one of the popular disciple of our great teacher. His life, he lived according to the Dhamma. So that's what it means, Dhammika, term Dhammika. So this Dhammika had a large retinue, large group of friends, large friends of group of friends, 500 friends, and all of doing so many meritorious deeds. And not only that, this Dhammika Upasaka, here Upasaka mean, the lay disciples who are practicing, you are going refuge the one who are going refuge the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and especially the one who are observing the five precepts at least. That kind of a person is known as Upasaka. The big, the one who entered the sasana as a bhikkhu, he is known as a monk or a bhikkhu. The one who practices Dhamma without entering to the sasana as a monk, he is known as Upasaka. He just going the refuge of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and also he observing at least five precepts. So this particular person, this Dhammika, not only going refuge, he has gone not only the refuge of the triple gems, but also he achieved the, at least stream entry level. He already Arya person. Arya mean the noble one who have already entered to the path of the Dhamma. So this person also had 14 children, seven sons and seven daughters. All of them together. That means 16 members. With the everyone has wedded life, including the children. So altogether 16 persons in this family. So this family always getting together and always finding a reason to offer dana to anyone, offer dana to especially bhikkhus. And when they saw innocent beggars and innocent people without having much materialistic thing, so they always helpful. And not only that, since he was an enlightened being, that means the Arya Savaka, he used to practice the Dhamma also. So the virtuous person, always try to convert the occasions into the dana. So here this family uh, uses different occasions to offer dana. So at first they have given a dana called salaka dana. That means uh, as a, uh, as a disciples, lay disciples, they getting together, and they were drawing kind of a ticket, something like that, and they get the opportunity, and by getting that opportunity, they offer dana. So that is known as salaka dana. And second type of dana, salaka yagu. That means yagu mean morning time. Most of the time, because having porridge or something like that, herbal porridge for the morning as at the breakfast. So they always offer this kind of herbal porridge to the sangha. That is called salaka yagu. And thirdly, they use pakika bhatta. Pakika mean not only that, every after 15 days, every after fortnight, they used to give another type of dana. And fourth type, Nimantrana Bhakta. Not only that, they go to the Sangha, Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, they request bhikkhus, invite the bhikkhus to their own home, and in that way they're giving dana. And also at fifth, Uposatika Bhattam. That means, during the Uposatha day, you got to know that normally at Poya days, lay people, we do some, uh, Sila, and we do some practices, more practices during the Poya day. So that day known as Uposatha day. During that day, Sangha gathered together and doing their disciplinary matters. That means Vinaya. We discuss Vinaya. So at that time also they take that opportunity to offer dana to the Sangha. Not only the dana, but the four basic requisites, mainly robes, and mean clothing, food, accommodation, and also the medicines. So by offering these things, all they use that opposite day. That means that special poet day also they used to offer that. And not only that, at 6 they are giving agantuka bhatt. Agantuka bhatt mean, one the guest monk uh, from far away town or far away area. If newly monk reach to their own hometown, at that time they used to offer dana to those monks. So those that in that way also they choose that opportunity to offer dana. And seventhly, they Sanghabattam. That means, without any special location, when they have the opportunity, they go to the Sangha and offer dana. That is called Sanghigabatta. And finally, Vassa Vassika Bhatta. That means, during the Vassan retreat, these group of friends and family, they used to offer much dana to the sangha, much requisites to the sangha. That is because you may have heard that during the Vassana retreat, especially monks are trying more without going anywhere, without confining into their respective monasteries. They try hard to gain some fruitions of the Dhammapada by practicing more meditation. So at that time, when one offers some kind of requisites to the Sangha during those period, they will get much merits with compared to the other time of the year. So in that way, the virtuous one always they are converting the opportunity to offer dana. But the one who always the stingy persons not giving any dana, the person who is not practicing dana, so their nature is, when there is an opportunity, still they don't take the chance out of the opportunity. So that is the nature of the unvirtuous persons. But virtuous persons are not like that. They are, turning that opportunity, turning each and every opportunity into practice, dana, sila, bhavana, and they try to go through the path even when difficult situation arises into their lives. So this is how this particular person, Dhammika Upasaka, had left his life. And the since even though he is a good practitioner, good human being, he also cannot avoid the aging, sicknesses, and finally the death. It doesn't matter whether you are a virtuous person or not. We all have to face the unavoidable circumstances in this life. So especially in Buddhism, you are not taught to stop those natural occurrences like aging, sicknesses, and also the death. You cannot stop, but you can make your mind to face them. So it is the natural, it is the nature of this world. It is the dhammata. That dhammata mean it is the eternal truth of the world. So he also had to face this unavoidable circumstance. So finally, at the end of his life, he got lots of sickness and he was unable to move. He limited into the bed as a sick person. So he was just about to die. So at that time, not like the other person, he just called his family members, and he informed them that I'm going to, I'm in my final stage of my life, so I want to see the bhikkhus and I want to hear the dhamma. In the beginning, I told you that he's already gained some kind of fruitions in the path of dhamma, so he need to hear the satipatthana. So then he informed the family members, I want to hear Satipatthana, mean, the four establishments of mindfulness. So Satipatthana Sutta, in the Pali Canon, you can see that sutra in three occasions, in Majjhima Nikaya, Digha Nikaya, and also Samyutta Nikaya. So I will explain it, Satipatthana, later in this sermon. So these uh, family members already informed to the Buddha about this matter, and after hearing the request, some group of monks came to Dhammikopasaka's home, and around the bed, monks were seated, and they were began to recite the Satipatthana. When Satipatthana sermon is happening, at that time, since he is a very virtuous person, celestial beings came to take him, came to invite him, because uh, definitely, since he is an enlightened being, so he's definitely will reborn in the celestial realm. So uh, there are six uh, deva worlds, so all devas came with different chariots to invite him, and just they were requesting to come their respective deva world. So at that time he was listening the Satipatthana, and only he could uh, visible them. The others, they were unable to visible them. So then suddenly he said, "Just wait, just wait." By saying that he addressed the devas. So at that time, the monks and other around family members, they thought he is kind of mad or some insane or something like that. So then uh, monk thought that the one who reciting the Satipatthana, the monks, they thought that he's asking to stop the reciting. So monk stopped the Satipatthana uh, chanting, and they left away from the place. So once the monks left away from the place, all the family members were crying, and they were very sad, and they said, just imagine, no any refuge, even after practicing this kind of dhamma, even at the deathbed, even at the end, we all have to face the same scenario. See, our father he has gone mad. So they were like crying. At that time, Dhammikopasaka just talked to them and asked, what is the reason that why you are crying? And he said that you are you yourself asked monks to come, and monk began to recite the Satipatthana, then in the middle you yourself stopped that. Then he said the matter. I have not stopped the monks from reciting, but I stopped the devas. They were inviting for me to come to their respective deva worlds. So, but the family members, they were unable to believe this story. So at that time he asked, okay, give me a flower wreath, then and throw it to the sky. So before that, he was asking from the family members, which Deva world would you mostly prefer? Then the family member said, Father, we refer the Deva world. That is because, Tusita Deva world is, even before enlightenment, our great teacher, Supreme Buddha also living in Tusita Deva world. And also the parents of our uh, Mahabodhisattva, uh, Siddhartha, Prince Siddhartha, parents, they were also living in the Tusita realm. So that's why most people have heard about Tusita Deva world. So the family members said, we prefer Tusita Deva world, Tusita Deva realm. So then he informed the matter to the chariot of the Tusita Deva world, and after that asked to throw that flower wreath to the sky. Then at that time, uh, that flower wreath hung onto the Deva world chariot. So by seeing that incident, you know, uh, the people began to believe that he will be surely be born in the Tusita Deva world. So at that time, just the monks who were reciting the Satipatthana, they were returning back to the monastery. Then they met with the Buddha and informed the matter to the Buddha. At that time, Buddha said, "Dear monks, that person is not stopped you. He stopped the celestial beings. He is going to be reborn in the thousands Tusita Deva world." So at that time, our great teacher uttered this noble verse. So the one who practices virtuous things, he really enjoys here in this life. Actually, the deeper side of this is at the time you are performing uh, these kind of meritorious deeds, your mind get much happiness. People are offering dana, offering helping others just to make the receivers happy, but actually the vice versa happens. That means we should give dana, we should offer dana. That is because when we are giving dana, our mind is getting happiness because of offerings, because of giving. That is why we should give dana. But nowadays people are doing that because they think, because they don't have enough requisites, that's why we should give that. But actually the main purpose is to, at the time when you are giving daন, that is the time that you are experiencing happiness. Most people think, after the giving only you will get the happiness, not during the daন. But actually, if you give the daन with real understanding, the moment you are offering daन, in Abhidhamma, it explained that when you are offering dana with with understanding, and you will in your mind you will get eight type of kusalsit, eight type of wholesome vinyanas, wholesome mindsets, wholesome chittas, wholesome minds. So at that time you will get the much blissfulness, much happiness. That is the way, uh, that is how the noble ones or the virtuous ones experience happiness. Not only after giving dana, but at the moment you are giving dana, that time also you are happy because of you are giving something. It brings you much happiness into your life. And after that moment also, he begin to experience much happiness. At the end of the life also, he's getting happiness, and also after the life also he used to get much happiness, like this Dhammika. So I told you that, I'm going to talk about little bit about Satipatthana. Here, very important thing is that, I could see even in my country so many Sri Lankan people also they practice dana, but they don't much consider about seed, and also practicing bhavana, samatha, vipassana. They are not practicing. They have no idea about that. Sometimes they have no idea about Satipatthana. But during the Buddha's time, it was not like that. They were doing dana, but especially without, depending only from the dana. They used to practice Satipatthana. That's what this Dhammikopasaka has done, because he was eager to hear the Satipatthana. So, as Buddhist, we must practice sati and sampajanya. Sampajanya means we should develop our prajna or the wisdom by hearing Dhamma. By hearing Dhamma, to hear Dhamma, it is said that we need. There are three stages. First stage we called Pariyatti Sasana. The second stage we called Pratipatti Sasana. Third stage we called Prativeda Sasana. That means uh, Pariyatti means first, as a lay Buddhist person, first thing is to, we must practice dana. Then we have to go in refuge of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also we have to observe the five precepts at least. If you can observe more precepts than the five precepts, that mean eight precepts and 10 precepts, it's better. But at least if you have five precepts, that is enough. Then that is called seed. And after, when while you are practicing these things, you have to learn about, you have to hear Dhamma sermons like this. Now in this sermon I am talking about one particular noble person, how he had spent his life. Likewise, you need to focus on the sutra, you need to hear the Dhamma sermon with relevant to the Pali canon. Thereby you can gain the knowledge of the Dhamma. By doing so, you can enhance your wisdom or the panya. And after that, you need to practice samatha and vipassana. By doing so, you can practice the mindfulness. Most people trying to practice mindfulness, but they do not practice dana and sila and those kind of things. They only think about the mindfulness. They cannot do that, because they practice mindfulness, but that is not Buddhist teachings. You can stay mindfully, but you will not get expected results. That's what I said. We need to uh, have understand the Dhamma first. So that is known as the Pariyatti Sasana. When you practice mindfulness, Satipatthana at least, that is comes under Pratipatti. Pratipatti means according to the knowledge that you have gained, you are practicing, kind of you are practically using that knowledge uh, into bring some kind of happiness into our lives. That is called Pratipatti. And if you really met with the true Dhamma, and if you really gain the true knowledge, true wisdom, and if you practice with that wisdom, if you practice, then you will immediately get the results of the Dhamma. The result is known as Prativeda. You can become Sotapanna, you can become a Sakadagami, and also if you are truly uh, you know diligent and wise enough, and if you are truly dedicated to the path, definitely in this life we can attain even the final liberation by becoming an enlightened being. So that's why this Buddha Sasana is going from there. So you may have heard lots of stories about dana, because dana, it gives you immediate happiness, but not just depending on the dana. You at least practice this satipatthana. So when satipatthana means, first thing is that you need to practice kaya anupassana. Kaya anupassana means kaya mean body, anupassana mean you have to wisely reflect according to the body. That is called known as kaya anupassana. And also vedana anupassana. Vedana anupassana mean every sentient beings experiencing feelings. The feelings can be categorized into three, sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, adukkam sukha vedana. Sukha vedana mean, pleasurable feelings, and unpleasurable feelings, dukkha vedana. And also, neither pleasurable nor unpleasurable, the neutral feelings are known as upekha vedana. So you can focus on the feelings. And also then the thirdly, you can do the chitta anupassana. You can observe, you can reflect your mindset, your how your mind works. you know when you are giving dana also, you can mindfully do that. As I said, I told you that when you are performing dana, there are 8 types of mindsets are there. So one of them will arise in your mind. At that time you can feel that my mind is at happiness now. So you can observe that with wisdom and mindfulness. That is called as chittanupassana. And also the finally dhammanupassana means, you have to learn about 5 aggregates, uh, and also pancha nivarna mean the hindrances of the mind. Those hindrances will block you, will uh, obstruct your path of dhamma. So you can reflect on them. That is known as dhammanupassana. So briefly I just explain about satipattana. So I really need to get questions, and I can ask you questions. So if you have any questions, I can answer right now. Uh, Dear Bhante, when I explain to my family and friends to do good for their present life and future, but I get laughed at because they rebut saying so many people who are doing bad are enjoying wealth, reputation, and power. How should I explain further? Thank you, Bhante. Not only for you that is happening, even to us. Even when as monks, when we are giving some this type of advices to other people, maybe they are laughing. And what I am doing in that occasion, I carefully consider the person. Then if that person is not at least practicing, if he doesn't have any clue of the dhamma, then I'm not going to tell him about the dana and things. And because if the receiver is not ready, then we cannot actually help them. At least it's better not to talk to them about those kind of things. So that's one way of learning. But that is not because I don't have any kindness to them. But when I suppose, if I'm not telling anything to them, at least they maintain the silence. So by doing so, they are not collecting any sins, demerits, by staying calmly. But when I told to do dana and things like that, they if they laugh at me, instead of getting happiness, instead of getting virtues, they'll get demerits, sins. So I'm not explaining to them. So the best thing is to understand it. But the beautiful simile is there. suppose uh, Suppose when you put a crab alive into a clay pot, and if you uh, put that pot into a stove, and if you begin to fire up, when water gets hot, when get water gets heat, in the beginning it gives that innocent animal blissfulness, pleasant feeling, because when water is at the lower heat, it feel comfortable to any sentient being. But when it begins to boil, when water begins to boil, at that is the time the person who begins to suffer, the animal or the crabs begin to suffer. Similarly, those who are not knowing the dhamma, maybe they are laughing by doing sins, doing demons. They may laugh and they may happily perform in that kind of unwholesome activities. But you know but when they experiencing the uh, the results or the consequences, they have to suffer much. That's what the Buddha said. Even the last time also I explained this simile. you know uh, in Dhamma it is explained that uh, to perform unwholesome activities, it is very easy. It is the simile has given, like, you may have heard, there are type of tree. We in Sri Lanka we known as kohomba. Kohomba mean it's very the fruits of the tree is very bitter, so much bitter. And if you we can plant only one seed, but just imagine at the time of planting you are not getting any bitter uh, uh, results. But when that seed, after 15 or after 10 to 15 years time, it will develop, it will enhance as a big tree, huge tree. At that time it will give so many bitter coma seeds, coma fruits. At that time, millions of coma trees, not only one time, maybe in a year, 2 3 times throughout the uh, at least 50 to 60 years, until that tree lasts. It provides it brings you the unpleasant bitter home seeds. Similarly, one perform when one perform unwholesome activity, in the beginning it seems like they are happy, but that is the beginning of suffering. So that is the nature of things. Mm, at least try to, in the beginning you try to help them by understand, by teaching them the dhamma. But when it not works, then you maintain your silence, and uh, you try to maintain your happiness instead of searching their happiness. So that is my advice onto that question. Dear Bhante, when you offer dana, you must do that without expecting anything in return. Isn't that so? Yeah, the really virtuous persons should give dana in that way. But in some occasions, it said that the wise one, the purpose of offering dana means you offer dana. As I said, in the Dhamma sermon also I said that the purpose of offering dana is not to provide happiness to others, just to provide happiness to us. When we are giving dana, the blissfulness or the happiness arise within the mind at the time of giving dana. So uh, we must have we should have expectation, not the materialistic thing, but the nibbana. It is not a bad thing. By giving dana, you give four things: ayu, vanna, sukha, bala. In English, ayu mean uh, when you offer meal, food, you mean they can maintain your life, they can bhikkhus can maintain their lives because of the food. That is called ayu. Vanna mean their energy, or they can meditate, they can do samatha, they can practice sila because of their human qualities they can maintain through this dana. That is known as one. Sukha mean happiness, the blissfulness or the comfortability of the body and the mind. Especially when we are offering food, we get the sukha mean we get the physical comfort. Without having physical comfort, how a monk can find the mental happiness? So you are providing that happiness by offering the physical comforts as well as the mental comfort. That is called as sukha. I want sukha. Bala mean the energy. So at least to do meditation, do walking meditation, do chanting, we need energy. So you are providing energy. So I want sukha, I want sukha, bala, energy, and panya. You are offering the wisdom, to talk about wisdom, to teach you about the wisdom, to understand the Dhamma, to practice Vidarsana or the wisdom, Panya meditation. We need to have the Panya, so that Panya also arised due to that Dana. So by giving all these things, you are offering the uh, way of you are helping that monks to gain the happiness. That means you are ultimately what you are giving the you are providing the path for them to go to the nibbana. So if you expect by giving dana, if you expect that happiness, that nibbana, if you expect, it is not a unvirtuous thing. So you need to expect, you need to, by keeping the hopes of nibbana, you have to give the dana. That is the best thing. Not by wishing, I by offering food, may I get much food. by offering food, by offering four requisites, may I get a good birth, good rebirth in the celestial world. So that is the materialistic desire. So it's a not thing to do. You know, suppose when you are going from somewhere, and some from when suppose the occasion that you are going from place A to place B. Suppose in that place A and place B there is a place called C. The one who is in the place A, he always has the desire or the inspiration to go towards this B. Then he don't need to think about C. Definitely he has to pass the C, and finally he will reach the when he reaches the uh, place called B. Definitely he has to pass the C place called C, because it is the place C in between A and B. Similarly, when one practicing dana by expecting the nibbana, definitely the physical comforts, rebirth in the celestial realms, those are automatically happen. No need to inspire, no need to desire. So that's what I said. It's better to wish the nibbana by giving dana. Not only dana, by practicing any kind of virtuous deeds, you can expect the nibbana. Bhante, how do you explain happiness according to the Dhamma? So, happiness in very famous and beautiful term is there. Hadayam punati iti punyam. So, happiness mean hadayam punati iti mean when when your mind gets the happiness, that is called the punya, mean the merits, not the happiness, not decided by what you offer. At the time when you offer something, your happiness will be decided by your mindset. This is the third time that I'm telling you. When you're offering, there are in Abhidhamma there are eight types of mindsets are there. So one of them arises in your mind. So that is the time you are experiencing the happiness. So if you can, some people, you may have the uh, in this Buddha's teaching, the greatest merit, one of the greatest merit is that, Anathapindika, the chief patronizer of our great teacher Supreme Buddha, he had offered huge monastery to the Buddha and the Sangha. So at that time, uh, uh, there was a poor man just stayed with them without offering anything, but he greatly enjoyed and greatly he was happy about the thing that Anathapindika householder did. Without doing anything, he was really happy about the thing that he has performed without doing anything. So, immediately after death of both the persons, when our great when our great disciple of Mahamoggallana, he is used to go to the Deva worlds and also in the hell worlds, and he used to tell about he used to tell stories about devas and hell beings, how they have been reborn into the hells, and how the devas being reborn into the deva worlds, what type of virtues they have done during the human life. So he is explaining to them. So when once that Moggallana Thera visiting in the Deva world, he observed two heavenly, palaces, two heaven palaces. One is golden color one. The other one is, the not like the it's a palace, celestial palace, but it's not worth enough like that golden one. So he just visited that golden palace and asked the owner, "What is the virtue that you have performed to get this type of a huge uh, palace?" At that time, he said, when there was when the Anathapindika household offering that huge monastery, at that time I was a beggar. I didn't have anything, but I was really really happy about his good wholesome karma. That's the only thing I have done. So he reborn as a celestial being. The one who has offered the monastery, he got the lower kind of palace. So that is the nature. Your happiness is decided not by what you offer, but the mindset you hold at the time of offering. So that's what we need to understand by when you are performing wholesome activities.
Thank you, Bhante, for such a wonderful session tonight. There's no more questions from the audience. Now we shall invite Bhante to conduct Anumodana.
uh, okay, we have now come to the end of the program. Let's do Anumodana. First of all, I would like to share all the merits to my teachers, and also I would like to remind Buddhist Mahavihar, you know, the backstage group, especially Brother Tilak, and the miss that you have that introduced the stage for me, and also other staff of the Buddhist Mahavihar, and also the sponsors to this Dhamma talk, and all the participants in person as well as online, and all the sentient beings may share these merits. And I would like to, by saying Pali verses, share these merits to them. එත්තාවතාජ අම්මේහි සම්පදං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ දේවා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධා සබ්බේ භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධා සබ්බේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධා. Let's share the merits with you, with our dear departed relatives and friends. ඉදම් මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා වന്തു ඥාතයෝ ඉදම් මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා වന്തു ඥාතයෝ ඉදම් මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා වന്തു ඥාතයෝ. I am now blessing all of you with the infinite qualities, infinite blessings of the triple gems. Abhivadana Silissa Nichang Madhapachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vardhanti Ayuvarno Sukhang Balang Ayu Arogya Sampatti Sabda Sampatti Mema Chatho Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samidhyatu. Thank you very much. I shall see you all at the next session. Teruvan Sarnai. Good night to all.
Thank you, Bhante, so much. On behalf of the monk and management of Mahavihara, we would like to thank Bhante again for his time and sharing his Dharma knowledge with us. We would also like to express our gratitude to all our sponsors for their kind donations and all our audience for joining us tonight. Good night, everyone, and have a pleasant evening. Sukihontu.